have quite a bit that I want to try to get done this morning. I want to make breadcrumbs. I have cookies that have been fermenting in the fridge overnight, so we're gonna get those baked up. And I want to get some dough going for a Pullman loaf. I got a Pullman pan and I haven't tried it yet, so I want to do that. I'm gonna see what we can get done. While it is true that if you clean up clutter and you organize your space, don't keep too much stuff, which I'm still working on, by the way. My home is always a work in progress. We have decluttered a ton the last few years since I've been home, but we still have a ways to go. So while it is true that extra clutter, raises cortisol, causes anxiety, that kind of thing, there is also truth on the other hand to recognizing that you have a project ahead of you. And sometimes it is not us being in an immediately different set of circumstances. Sometimes it is us fortifying ourselves, leaning on God to become stronger, in a sense, in some ways, and also just more restful and surrendered in another sense. And that is what I have learned. So I brought the hustle home with me. I've talked about that a lot on this channel. It took me a long time to undo it. And then I reached a point where I realized my worth wasn't coming from the hustle anymore. It wasn't coming from my productivity. But I was severely undernourished because of all of the stress. Not only just the stress from pregnancy and postpartum, but the stress of my entire life up until this point. And then going through 2 pregnancies and 2 postpartums in that depleted state to begin with. And so I've really learned that nourishment has to be present. You cannot outwork being undernourished. And that is what I want to talk about today. So before we get more into that, I will tell you that for the breadcrumbs, I used some leftover biscuits that I had made with soft white wheat. I think we had about 4 left, and I just cut them up, put them on parchment paper, and then I turned the oven on at 250 degrees, and I basically just let them bake in there until I checked them a few times until they felt dried out. I didn't do any certain amount of time or anything special. That's all that I did. And then as you'll see in a little bit, I put them into my, what is it called? I think it's a bullet blender. I don't know. It's like one of the smaller type blenders. It's powerful, but it's smaller. I just used that, and then it's breadcrumbs. And we used them to make fried chicken, and it was delicious. Now, this cookie recipe is the Farmhouse on Boone sugar cookie recipe. This is the one that I always use. It always turns out. And I swap it 1 for 1, the all-purpose flour for soft white wheat, and it turns out every single time. I don't even follow the recipe exact. I literally just throw everything in the mixer, and it works like a charm every single time. So we like this one. And then I always make a frosting for it too, and that's super yummy. So when I first became a homemaker, I was still learning a lot about cooking and nourishment, and a lot of this stuff, you can find it on social media. It's out there. So that's kind of what started getting me interested in it. But I didn't know how to do a lot of it in practice, partially because I didn't know a lot about cooking, and partially just because I didn't have an understanding. But after 2 pregnancies, I was most certainly depleted. My second pregnancy was actually even harder than my first one because of that. And so I'm hoping to avoid that in the future. But I was just severely undernourished, specifically in, I would say, minerals. I mean, vitamins, all the things, nutrients, but the minerals specifically. And then I've since learned that that's kind of what drives everything else. So I've been putting a lot of focus on like magnesium But then what happens to me is that I would have deficiencies in others, and so when I would take magnesium, it starts like pushing things where they're supposed to go, and then other symptoms would show up. And so it's tricky. But I find that if I focus on that with good water sources, supplementing here and there, and then just cooking from scratch, putting an emphasis on protein, putting an emphasis on, plenty of fruits with each meal, whole grains. I like to freshly mill our flour, and then properly prepared vegetables. I think actually steaming them is supposed to be the best. I don't love them that way, so I just cook our vegetables in a good amount of fat, usually butter, and this is what makes them taste really good too. So if you're somebody who's never really liked vegetables, join the club. I haven't really liked them when they're raw, but when I cook them in butter, they are delicious. So it's crazy because as I have focused on this, I feel like a kid again. Like I feel like I did when I was a kid, which is crazy after 2 pregnancies and experiencing basically hitting rock bottom, physically, mentally, everything. And so I just have really realized that you can be so disciplined because I am a very disciplined person. I don't struggle with getting things done. I don't struggle with like motivating myself to do things. I don't know. It just comes naturally to me to think like, well, these are the things I have to do and they have to be done before I can rest. That's just easy for me, I guess. But don't hear me saying that and think that I'm saying it pridefully at all, because there's actually a huge downfall to being that way, just like there would be to be someone who struggles with laziness. Both of them have their ditches. And so I just thought, well, I just have to be more disciplined. Like I just have to get up earlier, I have to just do more. And it turns out that for type A ladies like myself, that's actually not the answer. The answer is actually to do less, do a lot less, just do it better. So when I was in the thick of this, I pulled way, way back. I'm going to make some frosting for the sugar cookies, and I wanted to incorporate cherries. I have a bunch of these that we haven't used, and we still don't use all of them for this, but I'm just going to do a whipped frosting and then make like a small reduction with the cherries and then add that to it. So it'll be like a little bit cherry, just powdered sugar, cream frosting. I pulled back on how much we left the house, how much I would do in a day, and I primarily focused on just being slow, being present, and food. So basically just the things that could help me to feel regulated, grounded all the time. And when that didn't happen, I would just slow down, pause, and think about what my body could need. Do I need to eat more? Do I need, some minerals? Do I need a little magnesium? Whatever it is. And in that process, I have learned to really truly live again, I feel like. And also just to listen to my body, which is a good skill that many of us have lost these days. So doing a lot less. And now I'm at a point where, I've healed enough that I'm taking on a little bit more again, but it has taken a very, very long time. And I'm still reminded of this. Whenever I do too much, I can feel it, and I have to pull back again and remind myself that that's not really the point. The point is not to hustle. The point is to be present with my family and my children and to be happy and joyful. I also forgot to mention that I ended up not doing the Pullman loaf because I used the biscuits for breadcrumbs. I didn't need to do the Pullman loaf. That's initially kind of why I wanted to try it. for the extras to use for breadcrumbs, but I didn't do that. But I did make sauerkraut, and I have a recipe for that, so I will link that down below. Okay, so I added the reduction in it. I don't know if it wrecked the, sorry, there goes my dishwasher. I don't know if it wrecked the texture or I had the frosting sitting out anyway, so I'm chilling everything for a while and then I'll try to whip it again and hoping it comes together. I added a little more powdered sugar, hoping it all comes together. But otherwise we'll just do cookies and ice cream like we planned without the frosting, but I really want the frosting to work. So it turned out that the frosting did not work, unfortunately, so we just enjoyed the cookies. And here's my sauerkraut, but I hope that you found some encouragement in this video. Share any of your thoughts down below, and I will see you in my next one.